Welcome, dear colleague teachers. I want to teach you how you can teach a CBC lesson. I want to take you through how you can teach a CBC lesson. Remember, we have moved from 844 methods of teaching, and right now we are embracing CBC, and therefore we should move away from that kind of rote learning. We embrace the new method, that is the CBC. It has come to realization that most of the teachers we still teach using the 844 pedagogies. Those methods, as much as we should embrace them, um, we should integrate them within the CBC way of learning, so that we transit from the 844 method to CBC method. So this my lesson is going to be on English, how you can teach an English lesson, grade 5. Our strand will be, so in short, let me say that our learning area will be English in grade 5. Our strand will be grammar. Our substrand will be nouns. Nouns will be our substrand. So to begin with, I want to tell you that the CBC, in CBC, when we are teaching in a classroom, the teacher focuses on, for example, in this case, we are going to teach the nouns. So instead, we are going to, the teacher will focus on the learner identifying the meaning of a noun rather than memorizing the definition. So most of the teachers, sometimes we begin the lesson by asking the learners, who can tell us the meaning of a noun? In CBC, that is not the way to go. That is not the way to go. So in this case, the learner will identify the meaning of the lesson rather than memorizing the definition. So you are going to guide them to get the meaning of the noun. And in fact, that one should come first from the key inquiry question. What is a noun? What is a noun? So by the end of this lesson, you want the learner to know the meaning of a noun without you actually telling them that a noun is a naming word. So this is how you go about it. In this case, learner will be using and applying nouns in real life communication. In this case, the teacher will focus on learner using and applying nouns in real life communication. So in this our case, we are going to use one pedagogy that I've chosen. We are going to use the learner-centered learning. Learner-centered learning, not the teacher-centered learning. Learner-centered learning. So as a teacher, you're just there as an instructor. You tell them to do this, they do. So by the end of the lesson, through discovery method, the learner shall have learned what actually a noun is. So in this case, we are going to begin with let the learners identify and discuss nouns rather than giving all the answers. Let the learners identify and discuss nouns rather than giving all the answers. So in this case, we are going to measure on identification and discussion of nouns rather than helping them identify or giving all the answers. So these are the instructions you are going to do. Since you are there as their facilitator or the instructor, Step 1 under introduction. Pick some objects within the classroom or the objects that you had prepared in prior or before your lesson. So for example, in my instance, I'm going to have a book, I'm going to have a pen and a bag. A book, pen, bag, and a desk. So I am going to ask, for example, I have a pen. I'm going to ask them, class, what is this? Class, what is this? Can you tell me what this is? And they are going to respond. Then I can as well show them again, what do we call this object? What do we call this object? They will respond. And other things that I have that they can see, I will ask them. So after identifying those things, I am going to write their answers on the chalkboard. For example, this is a pen. I am going to write pen on the chalkboard. This is a book. I am going to write the word book on the chalkboard. The next thing, guide learners to discover that these are names of things and therefore nouns. So after writing the names of things that I've just shown them, the pen, desk, a bag, and a book, I am going to guide them to know that those things that I've written their names on the chalkboard, they are called nouns. So the word pen, the word book, the word desk, and the word bag they are nouns. Those words are nouns. So the next step or the next activity that I will give them to make this our lesson learner centered is that I'm going to organize group work. I'm going to put them in groups of fours or groups of fives according to the number of the number that you have in your class. So in this case, I am going to tell them to name things in classroom. I'm going to instruct them to tell the names of things in classroom and write them down. To identify things or the names of things in their classroom and write them down. So first I'll tell them to write the names of 5 people, the names of 5 animals, the name of 5 things, and the names of 5 places. Then, after giving them enough time, for example, 5 minutes or 4 minutes according to your schedule or according to your timing, you are going to ask each group to come in front of the classroom to present their findings or to give out the answers. To present their findings or to give out the answers. Then, the next step is give them words such as after their presentation. After their presentation is over, now you can give them words such as teacher, Kenya, school, Nairobi, boy, river, Nile. Words such as teacher, Kenya, school, Nairobi, boy, river, Nile, dog, and Akinyi. So after giving them these words, ask them still in their groups to classify them into 1, common nouns, 2, proper nouns. So from these words, teacher, Kenya, school, Nairobi, boy, river Nile, dog, and Akinyi, some words there are common nouns while others are proper nouns. So let them classify. After doing the classification, ask them to explain the reason for the classification of each word in a particular group. So ask them, why did they classify the word teacher, for example, under common nouns, but not in proper nouns. And why did they classify the word River Nile in proper nouns, but not in common nouns? Let them give their reasons for classification of each word in a particular group. Next, dear teachers, another activity. Under this activity, we are going to have application. We are going to apply what is learned. Now, under this activity, for example, you can give them pictures, or a picture of, for example, the picture of a market, a picture of a school, or a picture of a farm. Ask them to identify 10 nouns from the pictures, and then after identifying the 10 nouns from the pictures, ask them to construct 5 sentences using those words they have identified. After you are through, under this activity application, let them identify 10 words and then construct 5 sentences. So in this case, we have identification of words and then construction of sentences using the words that they have identified. Next, we are going to assess our lesson. As a teacher, you are going to assess your lesson, whether you have achieved your objective, whether the specific learning outcome has been achieved. Now, in this case, we are going to assess the learner using the CBA method. That is the competency-based assessment method. The competency-based assessment method. That is the CBA method. So in this case, we are going to use task. So task 1. Under task 1, you can identify, you can ask the learners to underline the nouns. So you can give them some sentences, maybe five sentences, and then you ask them to underline nouns from each, to underline a noun from each sentence. For example, you can give them this sentence: Mary took her book to school. So in this case, Mary took her book to school. We have nouns there. First, we have the noun word Mary, book, and then school. Task 2. Let them identify whether the noun is common or proper. So after identifying the nouns, you can ask them to classify these nouns either as proper or common nouns. That is task 2. Task 3. Ask them to look around the classroom and write 5 nouns. You can ask them to look around their immediate environment, and then they jot down 5 nouns. And then they write down 5 nouns. Task 4. Ask learners to make 3 meaningful sentences using nouns. So you can ask them to make 3 meaningful sentences using the nouns that they have identified. Remember, 3 meaningful sentences using nouns identified. So in this case, we are through with our assessments. So what have we assessed? 1, we have assessed the knowledge acquired. 2, we have assessed the skill that the learner has acquired. And 3, we have assessed whether the learner can apply what has been learned, but not a memorization alone. So in this CBC era, we are discouraging memorization. Though memorization is good, but we want learning to be learner-centered. So in the process, the lesson learner will learn by way of discovery. In this our lesson, the competencies developed. Remember, in a CBC lesson, from the name, the competency-based curriculum. So there are certain competencies that must be developed within a given lesson. So in this our lesson, we have one competency that we were striving to be developed is communication and collaboration. So this one has been achieved by each group discusses and then presents. Each group discusses and then presents. Number two, we have critical thinking and problem solving. This one has been achieved whereby we ask learners to classify and then construct sentences using the nouns that they identified. And then another competency developed, we have creativity and imagination. So this competency has been developed by learner creating sentences from pictures, learner creating own and meaningful sentences from the pictures. And then another competency that has been developed here is observing pictures which have been digitally produced and or videos that may have been used in the course of the lesson. So next, uh, next, uh, within a CBC lesson, there are values that we are striving to achieve by the end of our lesson. So one value is respect. In this our lesson, respect is developed in that learners were able to listen to other members within the group. Learners were able to listen to other group members as they were discussing. Another value is value 2. We have responsibility. This one has been developed by when learners completed the assigned tasks. Number 3, unity. This one has been achieved when the learners were working corporately or together. That one created a sense of unity, the value of unity. Integrity. Integrity has been achieved when the learners were giving honest answers from their own thinking and imagination. They were honest when they were giving their answers. So in that case, integrity as a value has been achieved. And then, what is the key principle of this lesson? What is the key principle of this lesson? Or what have you learned as a teacher from this lesson? So, what you ought to have learned as a teacher from this my lesson is that do not spend the whole lesson telling learners a noun is a naming word. What is a noun? A noun is a naming word. What is a noun? A noun is a naming. That is memorization. So let the learner observe. Let the learner discover. Let the learner discuss. Let the learner classify. Let the learner use, and then demonstrate what has been learned. I hope this my lesson helps you to teach your learners the CBC way. Thank you for listening to my lesson. Thank you very much.